I do not own any of the League of Legends videos or audio in this video. All credit goes to Riot Games. Everything will be in the description as well. Enjoy the video.
Everything changes.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the TheDuffPodcast. We got a little earlier start time actually, depending on when this goes out, but really, we usually record at night, but I just thought, hey, maybe, because we don't have the screen in the background, and if we do, we do a little, but you can't see it as much, so I thought we'd film just a little earlier. And then, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running through a recap of week 2, and we're going to be running through the teams that made it into the knockout stage. So if you haven't seen the teams that have made it into a knockout stage, this is going to be a spoiler video. But if you have, go right ahead. I could care less. Also, before we start, I just want to tell you guys, this is a podcast, so you can tab out and go watch something else, or work on stuff, or read if you want. Go do whatever you want. So this is a podcast. If you want to put headphones in and just listen to this like that, go right ahead. But this episode will be a little more visual than some others. So if you'd like, I will put the timestamps in the description. So the parts you really want to watch visually, you can click on that and then you can watch it. But the parts that you just want to listen to, go ahead and just put headphones on and do whatever you want. Alright, we're going to start off in Group A, actually. So, SKT going 5-1 at the end of the week. And actually, their only loss was to AHQ. And AHQ, actually, the snowball was too great for SKT. And AHQ playing so unbelievably well in that game against them. And I'm saying this I've said this in the past, and I will say this, I bet you, in the future. But AHQ, they were a scary team. They had a chance of making it out. They definitely were contenders, and they definitely showed it against SKT. They almost forced that tiebreaker with C9, but so close, but yet so far away, and they come in third in the group.
AHQ strike down SKT!
Along with Cloud9, and we'll get into the matchups, and I'll analyze the matchups in the knockout stage, but right now, SKT and Cloud9 have made it out, and AHQ and EDG tied for third. They did not do a tiebreaker match for that, because they didn't think it mattered, just because, why do a tiebreaker match just for the pick'em, right? But I got that group actually all correct. That entire group I got completely and utterly correct. Okay, so SKT, actually, Faker pulled out the Fizz once or twice. I think it was maybe once. I think it was against AHQ or EDG, I think. But, so Faker pulled that out, and Faker absolutely destroyed. Sorry, it was against Cloud9. Yes, it was against Cloud9, and Faker pulled that out and honestly just destroyed on it. And people were, kind of surprised, but Faker has played that in the past. And I think he went something like 4-1-2. They almost lost to Cloud9, actually. That was the match that was deciding, and it was if Cloud9 wins this, Cloud9 has a shot at first. But honestly, I think Cloud9 just thought to themselves, we don't think we're going to beat SKT, but right now we're going to focus on getting out of the group. Because Cloud9 was absolutely, if they had lost to AHQ, there probably would have been a 3-way tie between AHQ, EDG, and Cloud9, so they definitely would have had to do a tiebreaker. In that case, I think it would be, I'll move on to Group B in a sec, but because something happened in there, but it would probably be Cloud9 versus EDG, and then the winner of that tiebreaker plays AHQ, and the winner of that the winner of that moves on, but good thing Cloud9 actually made it out. Cloud9, I'm just going to jump ahead here, the only NA team to make it out of groups. The TSM curse will live on, more like the NA curse, really, but TSM fans just heartbroken after that. They were, claiming that. It was in their hands, and they just threw it away. They literally went, 2-1? 2-1 at the end of the week. and they could not make it out of the group. They're ending up third, but we're still going to continue on with the Group A. Honestly, when I was watching the games of AHQ, just when they played, and I just, my head just went back to the fact when I said, like, if you are in the knockout stage and AHQ somehow moves on and you're making your picks, watch out for them. I saw a world in my head where AHQ beat Cloud9 and made it out. Like, honestly, that team was playing so well. Westdoor, oh my gosh. I thought he was performing well earlier, but Westdoor, my man, bro, Westdoor was actually insane. He was playing so well. He carried his team. He absolutely carried his team. And then Edward Gaming, honestly, just a throw. I mean, second week was okay. Their only loss was to SKT. They beat Cloud9 and they beat AHQ, but they lost to SKT. And actually, they were winning in the game 5-0 until SKT made a comeback. I think it was like 4 or 5K gold, something like that, lead. And then, just like the game 1 versus SKT, they blew it away. And honestly, I had faith in Edward Gaming. I thought that they can make it out because I don't want to move on because I just want to make so many connections to different groups, but I want to stick in one group and then move on to the next one. You guys will see what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is that Edward Gaming, 0-3 at the end of the first week, just that I feel like they had bad luck at the end of the first week. And going into the second week, I was like, if Cloud9 absolutely throws, which they were doing in the first first game and a half almost, I think, they were throwing, I thought, and I was like, they're my NA team, the NA's last hope, and my home team is gonna mess up somehow and just get out. And they pulled through and they won. And Edward Gaming, not much of a surprise to other people, but I thought they might I'm not saying I thought they were going to make it out, but I thought they had a chance to make it out. AHQ, I thought had more of a chance than EDG, but I felt like EDG could be maybe not maybe more reliable, but definitely if we take it from the past, not the past week, but in the past, generally I felt as if they could pull through in the second week and do better. Because, there's always the NA curse that NA does amazing in week 1 and goes 2-1, 3-0, and then they just are go 0-3, 1-2 in week 2. And actually Jensen on Cloud9, once they made it out, or maybe it was before, said people keep saying the NA curse, they always do terrible in week 2, but then he brought up the point that, they were in play-ins. They did play-ins, so they had already had a week and a half of play before that. So he was people say, week 2 always goes bad for NA, but the thing is, week 2 already passed, and we already did well in that. So, this is technically week 3 for us, so there's no curse on us. So, he didn't exactly say it like that, but that was the point he was shooting at. And they definitely pulled through. They definitely did amazing. So what I actually had, I think I said this past, but that is my perfect pick. Perfect pick group. That is my only perfect pick group, sadly, for that. I actually had two accounts that I play on. One is my main account on League of Legends. The other I don't really play on. I just use that for a different account if I ever want to hop on there and just have a little fun with some bad players. But on that account, I switched. I wish I really considered my second pick'em better, because what I did was all I switched around was Cloud9 and EDG. I thought EDG would come in second, and then I switched around Team W and TSM, but they didn't really do well. So that didn't really work out for me. So moving on to Group B. Longzhu Gaming, Fnatic, Gigabyte Marines, and Immortals. So, oh wow. This was the first day in week 2. This group was absolutely insane, man. Absolutely insane. We had, at the end of first week, Longzhu in first, 3-0. Immortals in second, 2-1. And then Gigabyte Marines in third, I believe, tied with Immortals, and then Fnatic 0-3. And get this, I think it was pretty obvious Longzhu would go 6-0. And actually, in that final game, I think it was against Gigabyte. Yeah, it was against Gigabyte Marines. They actually subbed their best player, Khan, in the top lane. They subbed him out with their sub. So they still won that game. And then everyone thought Immortals may do well because they were doing so well in the first week, and they went 2-1. Everyone had so much hope for them. You know, fresh out of like going, like not even making the playoffs in NA spring split, and then coming into this and being like, hey, they may even make it into knockouts. Just as a team that last split didn't even make playoffs, and they're coming into this so strong, and everyone was like so worried about them, and they come in last 2-5. And you're probably wondering, 2-5? What happened? Why'd they play 4 games? And the thing is, even though they did play 4 games, even if it was only 3 losses, but they added an extra one just to make them feel bad about themselves. They didn't really. They had a chance to make it out, but they literally played 4 games in that day and lost all 4. And that is the NA curse at its best. Gigabyte Marines, so what happened was we had a 3-way tie. Longzhu actually 6-0, so they were out 100%. And we had a 3-way tie. Fnatic, Gigabyte, and Immortals. Wow. That's all I just have to say. Wow. So, you may be wondering, how did Fnatic actually even force a tie? Force a tie. Just one tie. Wow. Okay. So many puzzle pieces had to fall into place, and it all happened for Fnatic. And going into week 2, they had to play Longzhu first. So actually, they were an 0-4 team. 0-4 team. Going in week 2. 0-4. 0-4. They won their last 2 games against Gigabyte and Immortals. And those 2 teams lost to Longzhu, and they split like games against each other. So that would mean that they all ended up at 2-4. So Fnatic had to win 2 in a row, and then they had to have Gigabyte and Immortals, since they tied in the first week at 2-1, lose 3 in a row, which they then did. They both lost 1 apiece to Longzhu, so that made them 2-3. No, sorry, 2-2. And they lost to Fnatic and then each other. So yeah, so they're all tied at 2-4 here, right? They split games and they lose to Longzhu and they lose to Fnatic, which grants them 2 wins. So they're all at 2-5. And what happened? Sorry, 2-4. And so what happened is, here's how this worked. Because Gigabyte Marines, through those 3 teams, they did like who won the most games without these, like in these 3 teams against those 3 teams. And it was Gigabyte Marines won the most games against those 2 other teams. So what would happen was they would go in a second match, and what would happen was Fnatic and Immortals would play each other, and the winner of that would play Gigabyte, and the winner of that would move on with Longzhu to the knockout stage. What happened, Immortals, everyone actually had some hype with Immortals going into this, and Immortals was like, hey, we're actually, like, we may have lost 3 games, but we have hype going into this. Everyone was a little nervous, but honestly, Immortals was confident going into this, but Fnatic had all the hype and all of it, and Fnatic goes into this game just plowing through this and like full speed ahead, and they actually beat Immortals, and I watched that game and it crumbled before my eyes, and I'm an NA fan, and I love EU too. EU's great. We have a friendly rivalry, and I love EU, but it just pained me to see Immortals get out. And they lose to Fnatic, and that slots them automatically into 4th. And obviously the thing that's most important to me is them getting out. But not only that, but that group was just a massacre for my pick'em. Like, Longzhu, obviously, I think everyone knew they were coming in first, and I think everyone knew that no one had a chance of even coming close to beating them. And not to mention, Immortals, who's coming in last, almost beat Longzhu twice. Twice. They almost beat them. And it was such a close game, and in one of those games, Immortals had an inhibitor destroyed until Longzhu had one amazing fight, and they beat Immortals in that one game.
Got himself a triple kill as he might look to close out with a Penta, but it is academic, immaculate, and most importantly, undefeated as Longju and the Storm that swept through Group B.
So right, we got Immortals versus Fnatic. Fnatic wins, Immortals is out, Fnatic's moving on. So this is a second seed to Group B, but also like a third place. And so it actually starts off in Gigabyte's favor, I believe. And then, so what happened was Fnatic started to snowball. Caps got pretty fed. Everyone got pretty fed, actually. Not insanely. It was a pretty close game. And then disaster struck, and Fnatic pulls through with that win. And I think the announcers were shocked. The fans were shocked. When I watched it live, I was shocked. I was freaking out. I could not actually believe it. It was insane. Oh my gosh, I can't even still believe it to this day. They won 4 games in a row. They lost 4 games in a row. And they are the first team to ever make it out of groups an 0-3 team. And they're even an 0-4 team. So that even makes the situation like a billion times better. And they still move on. So we got Longju, Fnatic in Group B. We got SKT, Cloud9 in Group A. Moving on to Group C. And honestly, guys, I think this group was a little, like, hey, G2, hey, 1907, Fenerbahce, how about you guys get out, and you can let the big kids, Royal Never Give Up, and Samsung just battle it out, and, we can fight for first and second seeds, and, it's pretty much what happened. I have really nothing to say. G2 was okay in the second week. I think they went like 2-1 in the first week, or maybe 1-2. I think it was 2-1, and they lost 2 and they won 1, and they just not enough. They almost topped Samsung. Almost, notice I say almost. It wasn't really that close. Fenerbahce, I guaranteed you guys, and I brought through with my promise. They went 0-6. They didn't win a game. This group is going to be relatively short, but Fenerbahce 0-6. That group, named the Group of Death, that was the Group of Death, 100%. G2 and Fenerbahce, upon draw, was like, give us our stuff and let's just pack now. Like, it's over. Like, why do we even compete? Because that group, though, and then everyone thought Group A was debatable. Group C or Group A would be the Group of Death, but not even close for Group A. Edward Gaming coming in last. And then it's crazy to me that, oh man, it's not even crazy. It's just G2 going 3-3, Fenerbahce going 0-6. They were like just out of it from day one. And then Royal Never Give Up and Samsung, the battle was insane. And Royal Never Give Up actually came and pulled through. I thought my predictions for last week, or coming into this week, I thought Samsung would perform very well and come into this and beat RNG and claim that first seed, but that did not actually happen. And so Royal Never Give Up with Uzi, and Uzi led them to victory. Seriously, Uzi is going to be a huge factor as a 1 seed in this competition. And it's Royal Never Give Up is probably either first or second easiest 1 seed, next to Team WE in Group D, who also actually claimed first seed. But Group C actually, so Royal Never Give Up, first seed, Samsung, second seed. And that Samsung second seed, when Samsung plays a first seed, so either Team WE, Longju, or SKT, I already know, but I'm not going to mention it because that's spoilers and that's rude. But once they play one of those teams, whoever they get drafted to, that team is going to be like, oh, kill me now. So, Samsung, a very dangerous second seed. Royal Never Give Up, a very dangerous first seed. So, I'm excited to see what we can see from Group C. That's two jokes in 2 videos. We're gonna keep this streak going. But yeah, so I think that those two teams are definitely gonna be a problem for all the other teams. So moving on to Group D, finally. It's tough to because either Group B or Group D, it's debatable which one was more interesting. But honestly, I enjoyed watching Group D more. Group D, wow, unbelievable. That's all I need to say for this. Flash Wolves, I think everyone really thought if they went 0-3 in the first week, why would they do any better? I think everyone thought that they'd probably either beat Misfits or TSM at least once, which they did. And then they actually beat TSM, which really, punch in the gut for TSM. And that game wasn't even like okay, we need to beat you to get out of groups. It was more like we want to beat you because we want to be jerks. And I'm not saying, if I were on a team, I'd do that too. Just because, it's not like you're going to throw a game and let that team have a better chance of beating another team, you know? But I'm just saying that game was for spoilers. It was to ruin someone's chance of getting out. And that was the case for TSM. TSM actually forced a tiebreaker with Misfits, and TSM lost to Misfits, and they lost to them for the third time. 3 times. 3 times. And TSM proves that they are better than... Sorry. Nope. Other way around. Misfits proves that maybe not as a whole, but in that group was a better squad than TSM. Team WWE going 5-1, losing to, I think, TSM, and then that was a pretty close. I had TSM coming in first. That didn't work out. I had WE coming in second. That didn't work out. I had Misfits coming in last. That didn't work out. I literally got nobody right in that group. Big fat donut. So we got WE moving on as a first seed, and Misfits actually beating TSM in that tiebreaker. The tiebreaker game going, literally both teams going 3-3. We had a 3-way tie between Misfits, TSM, and Team WE at the end of first week. And Team WE comes out and it destroys everyone in that second week, going 3-0. Misfits coming out and destroying TSM. Wow. And then Flash Wolves, they're just there and just saying, hey guys, we're passing through. We're going to take a game off of you, TSM, and have you packing and going home along with us. But, hey, nobody likes TSM, right? Sorry, TSM fans, but I personally, in Worlds, I wanted Cloud9, Immortals, and TSM to make it out because, who doesn't want all the NA teams to make it out? Because then, you have a better chance to beating a Korean team. Okay, so... Rewind. Group A, we have SKT, Cloud9 going on. SKT the first seed, Cloud9 the second seed. I think those two teams can actually do some decent damage depending on who they get drawn with. Actually, I'll say that in a second now. Group B, Longzhu in first, Fnatic in second. Unbelievable. They did the unthinkable. The unthinkable to get out of that group, and Fnatic somehow pulled it off. Group C, Royal Never Give Up with Uzi leading them to victory, and number 2 seed Samsung Galaxy, and that to number 1 seed seeing them. I mean, it was either RNG or Samsung, and I think nobody wanted either of those teams to be first or second, but Samsung. Watch out 1 seeds, because Samsung is going to, depending on who they get drawn with, is going to destroy your lineup. And then Group D, we got Team WE in first and Misfits. Wow, Misfits. Who would have expected that? Misfits in second, TSM in third, Flash Wolves in fourth, TSM ending the week on 3-4. Unbelievable. Wow. So that is the teams we have in the knockout stage. Now, here are the group draws for the knockout stage, the championship. And after this, I'm going to move into my picks. And then after this, I'm going to move into analyzing each matchup. And then after that, I'm going to analyze my picks. So, we have in the top matchup being played on October 20th at 3 a.m., we have SKT versus Misfits. So, okay, I'm not going to analyze it now, but that's going to be a very good matchup. Misfits, I don't think that's the matchup they're looking for, but with the picks they pull out and the different, I guess meta and just different play style they have, I think they can beat. Like everyone always says that. They're like, hey, this team is like bad, but they're unpredictable. Maybe they can beat them. And I'm probably in the corner saying, no, they're not going to beat them. But now I'm sitting in this chair saying, I think Misfits can do it. I honestly think Misfits can do it. And, people might disagree with me, but if Misfits plays their style, they can pull through. Second matchup for seed, RNG versus the 0-4 team, Fnatic, who pulls out the wins and playing RNG in this second matchup on October 21st at 3 a.m. as well. Okay, so Fnatic, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Again, I'm going to get into more analyzing in a sec. I don't think Fnatic's beating RNG. The bot lane is just going to get destroyed. Actually, Reckless and Jez's versus Uzi and Ming. Okay, I lied. The bot lane is going to be a good matchup. But, I'm going to have to go... that's going to be a really good matchup, actually. I'm going to have to go with RNG in that, actually. Uzi... oh, man, that is tough. As a whole, that matchup, I still think RNG is going to win, but that bot lane will be definitely very interesting. The mid lane, Caps and Xiaohu. Caps needs to... okay, Broxa needs to camp Caps' lane. And then once Caps gets fed enough, then I think that's the way. Because I think if Broxa actually risks it and goes with the cheese gank at maybe level 2 or 3, maybe level 2 gank would be a better idea. I think he can kill Xiaohu and Caps will get a better snowball and easier and maybe a first item faster than Xiaohu. And then in the jungle we got Broxa and MLXG. MLXG is insane. Broxa is actually he's not, I don't think he's a rookie, but he's definitely one of the earliest players to come in. So he's come in like this year, and he's young. He's young. I'm not saying he's like a bronze 1 player, because he's not, but I am saying that I don't know if he can compete against a Korean team. Top lane, Soaz versus Let Me. Let Me, at the end of week 2, playing very well. He was playing not even exceptionally. He was just playing amazing. And Let Me versus Soaz. Soaz gives up a lot of first bloods, but so does the entire team. I'm not pinning it all on just Soaz. I'm not going to throw that guy under the bus. I love Soaz, but, it could go either way. Like, MXG could camp top, and Broxstar could camp mid, and just Xiaohu needs to play safe. And, I'm calling it right now. Okay, so this is going to be, I believe it's a 5-game series versus RNG and Fnatic. Again, I'm analyzing this a little too much, but this is the last thing I'm saying. I'm going to estimate 5:37 first blood. 5:37 first blood. 5 minutes, 37 seconds into the game. First blood against Xiaohu. Broxa coming in, depending on what champ he's playing, but he's going to kill Xiaohu with Caps. 5:37. I'm going to mark that down right now. Actually, Siri. Okay, come here, Siri. Come here, Siri. All right. Let's, not Siri. Let's go into my notes here. And, let's make a new note, which says RNG versus Fnatic. And then I'm going to say first blood, first blood prediction, 5 minutes, 37 seconds. Okay, right there, boys. That is my prediction, and I'm writing that down, and on the next podcast, there's no way I'm getting it right, but if I'm close, I'm doing something insane. We'll see, though. But this will be an interesting matchup. It really will. It'll be an interesting matchup. Okay, so drumroll, please. The team that got so unlucky as to play Samsung, the second insane seed, is Longzhu. Longzhu Gaming. They went 6-0, and in the last podcast, I said something about like Longzhu really coming out of nowhere, I think, in the last split. And then coming in, like, I thought that, and then coming into week 2, just playing so unbelievably well, just changing my opinion so much. So honestly, it's just really hard to see what this matchup is going to be like, you know? It's really hard to see what this matchup is going to be like. Samsung wasn't really playing to the best ability, though. I think the top lane is definitely going to be interesting. It'll be interesting. It'll be a good matchup. In the final matchup, I think you guys can connect the dots because it's the last two teams, Team WE and Cloud9. And when I found this out, I was literally jumping on the walls and freaking out. And when I found this out, it was at like 7 a.m. because I was watching like a VOD of it. And I was watching the group draw, and it was like Team WE, and they were drawn like third. And I was like, okay, all Cloud9 needs to do is not get drawn first, because then they play RNG. And then, because like I was like okay with that, but I didn't really want them to play RNG, and I was like, please be WE. But then they get drawn, Cloud9 gets drawn first, and they can't slot into playing SKT because they were in their group. So I was like, no, and I was like yelling, and I was like, no, why do they have to play RNG? And they're like, no, they're not going to be playing RNG because due to they've something played them before or something. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, no, they're going to play Longzhu. And they're like, but they can't slide into Longzhu's place either because they also have played them in a different instance. I'm like, what? I was confused, but I was happy. And then they're like, Cloud9, with a little bit of confusion, is sliding into the final matchup versus Team WE. And I was literally just jumping everywhere. I was freaking out. And I was like, yes. Because Cloud9, that's the easiest matchup. Both those teams, too. And then, but the only thing is, I mean, I'm not saying I want to be on the top half of the bracket, but if they win, they're going to have to play Longzhu or Samsung. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. But those are the matchups for the knockout stage. Okay, so now we're going to just do a little bit more in depth of the matchups. We've said the matchups, but now I'm just going to say my opinions on it, just a little more. So SKT versus Misfits, I kind of said my opinion on this. I think SKT might win, but I think Misfits can actually pull it out. Top lane, Huni versus Alphari. I think I might have said this in past videos, maybe a past podcast, but Huni actually used to be on Immortals. I think it was actually last season 6 or something crazy like that. They actually used to be on Immortals, and now he's on SKT, and they are on the road to another championship. Huni versus Alphari in the top lane. Huni has just been performing insane. Absolutely a god in the top lane. Huni versus Alphari, Huni is just going to stomp him. And unless, I don't even think, even if Max Lord camps top, I think Huni's just going to pull it out. But, you know, we'll go back to the jungle in a moment, just connecting that to the mid lane matchup. Power of Evil versus Faker, and then people are probably wondering, like, if top lane's such a big deal, then why is mid lane such a big deal? Because Faker's surely better than Huni. But I think just the skill difference between Huni and Alphari is greater than the skill difference versus Faker and Power of Evil. Because Power of Evil coming into week 2, wow, ooh-wee, I didn't expect he'd do that well. And then, oh my gosh, stomped Bjergsen, stomped TSM, stomped Flash Wolves. Wow. And almost stomped Team WE. Almost. Notice I say almost. And then, so Power of Evil versus Faker. I still think Faker's going to win that matchup. But, it'll be close. Again, 5-game series. So, I'm going to make my prediction on what the games are going to be after I run through the lineup one more time. The ADCs, Hansama versus Bang. Bang's going to win. Bang's going to win. Hansama, pretty good on that Kog'Maw. Pretty good on other champions too, but I haven't seen a lot of his play, but from what I've seen in the group stages, Hansama on the Kog'Maw has been exceptionally good. And then, so, Bang. He's just really good. He's been on that SKT team for a while now, and, I just feel as if Bang is just a better player I don't know, man. What do you want me to say? Okay, so then their supports, Ignar versus Wolf. Ignar is going to lose, because Wolf, better than Ignar. Ignar is just, Ignar on Janna, that's a different story. If you're SKT, I would ban away the Janna for Ignar. If they don't first pick it, definitely ban it away. That's my opinion, because Ignar on that, just some sick Janna plays. Seriously, that guy, honestly, just a beast with Janna. And, obviously, a bunch of other supports, but he's just been absolutely insane on the Janna. So, what I think how this matchup is going to go, SKT versus Misfits, 5-game series. First game, I think Misfits is going to catch SKT off by surprise because it's the first game and SKT is going to try and start to figure them out. Misfits taking game 1, I'm saying right now. So, second game, I think SKT is going to maybe figure them out a little more. And earlier I said Misfits can pull it out. And under the scenarios they do, they could pull it out. But I'm going to go back on my prediction there. I think it's going to be, so Misfits taking game 1, SKT taking game 2, SKT taking game 3. So that'll be 2-1 SKT. And then I think SKT is going to go 3-1 against Misfits. So, yeah, so changing my prediction there. Just looking through the lineup and just going more in depth about this. Definitely just it's more like a hammer to my skull. It's just wake up, dude. SKT is just a better team than Misfits. I'm not gonna be as so blind as to think that Misfits has a chance, which they do. But Misfits taking game 1, SKT going 3 games up after that and winning, and going on to either face Fnatic or RNG. Moving on to that matchup, I think it'll be. Oh man. Okay, this game is a little bit of man. I said this earlier, actually, though. Do I even really need to go through this? Because I said that RNG versus Fnatic I already really went through this, because Broxah, all he needs to do is camp mid, and the 537 first blood, yeah, I already went through this. But now all I have to make my prediction for is who's going to go up games and what. So I'm saying first game is going to go to RNG, second game going to Fnatic, third game going to Fnatic, and then fourth game to RNG, fifth game to RNG. I think it's going to go in 5. It's going to go RNG, Fnatic, Fnatic, RNG, RNG. So it's going to go 1, 2, 2. So then, yeah, so that's what I think is going to happen. So I think RNG, I think it's pretty obvious it's going to go on to face SKT here. But yeah. And then, so Longzhu versus Samsung. Oh, man. Wow. This is... personally, I'm most looking forward to this matchup. I think... Samsung did so bad, though. I'm sorry, but, coming into this, oh, man. This is a hard prediction. Longzhu versus Samsung, because on one end of it, you can see, like, Longzhu coming into this, like, no one really know who they are, and they're just like, Longzhu, for beating SKT in the finals, getting a first seed, like, come on, that's luck. They just did this just because they did some off-meta picks or whatever, but Samsung, if they were performing how well they performed last year, I were to say that they could beat Longzhu, but it's still going to be a very close competition. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm actually going to say it's going to be Longzhu taking the first two, and then Samsung taking the third, and then Longzhu taking the fourth. So Longzhu, Samsung, Longzhu. That's how I think it's going to go. But top lane QV versus either Rascal or Khan, they usually sub out, but it's usually Khan. Khan on that Jace. Oh my gosh. Everyone says rule 1 of League is something else, or it's this, or it's this, or it's that, or it's don't chase Singed. Ban his Jace. That's all I have to say for top lane. That's all I have to say. Then QV, I think, can then pull that out. Because versus Ambition in the jungle, that's going to be a tough matchup. I think Ambition can definitely pull out, because Ambition is actually, along with Crown, are the only really two that are performing well, in my opinion. But, everyone else is kind of underperforming. Core JJ and Ruler. Oh, again, I don't want people to hate on me for making my predictions, but, I just don't think that they're going to... 3-1 Longzhu. Moving on. Okay, final matchup, Cloud9 versus Team W, and I want you guys to trust me on this, that I'm going to do this in my opinion and not because I like Cloud9. But here's what I think. Impact versus 957 in the top lane, it's Impact. Contracts can literally play his normal game, doesn't have to camp top or anything, and Impact will still win. Obviously, Impact will need some help, and unless Condi camps top lane, Impact will be fine, and Impact will win lane. So Condi versus Contracts. Contracts is a little bit of a rookie, not a rookie, second split or season or whatever, I don't really know. And then versus Condi. Condi's so experienced, son of Baron. So many Baron steals, oh my goodness. Condi's going to beat Contracts in the jungle. He's going to out-farm him, I can guarantee you that. Unless Contracts just focuses on farming and not really getting kills in the entire game, but I doubt that would be the case. So Contracts against Condi, Contracts is not going to perform as well as him. Xie and Jensen in the mid lane. Jensen, if he pulls out the Ori or the Syndra or the LeBlanc, I think he can beat Xie. But Xie, nothing besides a LeBlanc, honestly. If Jensen can... I don't think he should definitely blind pick the LeBlanc against Xie, but Xie on the LeBlanc, I think is better than Jensen's LeBlanc. So, either ban it or take it. I don't know, but I really wouldn't have Xie take his LeBlanc. Mystic and Sneaky, Doublelift on TSM actually said that Mystic is getting a little overrated from that, and at the beginning, that's when Doublelift said at the beginning of the group stage that Mystic was a little overrated, and everyone was like he was getting too much hype. And I was actually agreeing with Doublelift. Moving into Moving into week 2, though, Mystic definitely deserves that hype. Really followed through with that. Definitely followed through with this hype. And then Sneaky versus Mystic. I think Mystic is gonna... just bot lane, please don't feed. Please don't feed bot lane. Please do not feed. But Ben and Mystic versus Sneaky and Smoothie. It's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be WE with that. Here's what I think is gonna happen. WE first game, Cloud9 second game, Cloud9 third game, Team WE fourth game, Cloud9 fifth game. It's gonna go into 5, boys. That's what I think is going to happen. WE, Cloud9, WE, Cloud9. Here we go. These are my picks now. We kind of already analyzed it, and so this is my group picks, my knockout picks. So everyone who came to this video just for the knockout picks, I am picking it right here, and I am going to tell you the perfect draft and what you need to do to get perfect score in the knockout stage. Right now, I'm going ahead and placing SKT in front of Misfits. It's pretty obvious. I already analyzed all of these, so I think I'm just going to go with what I have. RNG, Tops, Fnatic, Longzhu, and Samsung. I'm actually just going to consider this a little more. Oh, man. This is... Longzhu and Samsung. I still think it's Longzhu. I really, honestly, still think it's Longzhu. Oh my gosh. This is hard. Okay. Alright. Longzhu, Samsung or Longzhu? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Longzhu. Okay. Alright. Okay. Okay. So next we have alright, Team WE and Cloud9. Team WE and Cloud9. It's gonna be Cloud9. Alright. There we go. Cloud9 versus Longzhu. SKT versus RNG. I'm afraid it's gonna be an SKT Longzhu rematch. I'm afraid it is. Oh, we're gonna put that. Alright, let's analyze these matchups a little more. SKT versus RNG. Alright, well then. Okay, so SKT versus RNG. Uzi and Bang in the bot lane. Definitely gonna be a good matchup, but I think... Ooh, man. Uzi and... Oh, my gosh. Okay, I think Uzi and his team is actually going to take the first game in that, so I think it's going to be 1-0 in RNG's favor in the first game. Faker, if he pulls out the Syndra or the Fizz against the mid lane, against Xiaohu, I think Faker can definitely stomp, and I think then SKT can take the second game, and then I think SKT is going to take the third game, and then I think SKT is going to take the fourth game, and they're going to go 3-1, and they're going to move on to the World Championship once again, and I'm sorry. Like, I hate SKT, and I don't want them. Trust me, if I could change this, I would in every way possible, but I just think SKT just has such an easy top half of the bracket. They didn't get placed on the half with Longzhu. They didn't get placed on the half with Samsung. That's about it. They don't really have to fear anyone else besides them. But they just got the easiest route, and I think they're just an automatic championship. And then we got Longzhu versus Samsung. It's Longzhu versus... Sorry, not Longzhu versus Samsung. I already analyzed that matchup. It's Longzhu versus Cloud9. Cloud9, step 1, ban Jace. Step 2, don't lose. Step 3, you lose. It's going to be Longzhu. It's going to be a Longzhu SKT final once again. And I'm just trying to go into more depth with this. I'm just struggling to find what would be good. But I think it's... Oh, the top lane matchup, Khan and Impact, is going to be so interesting to watch. But just like watching Longzhu play, I feel like the playstyle is better than SKT. And I just feel like Longzhu right now is better than SKT. And I think that since Cloud9 lost to SKT, and I'm saying that Longzhu's better, why would they have any chance of even coming close to even beating a shot of Longzhu? If they even came not that close, but almost beat SKT, why would they have a shot at beating Longzhu? That's all the point I have. So I think it's going to be a Longzhu SKT finals, as in the Korean finals for the summer split. This is it. This is my final picks, and I think a lot of people will definitely have these picks. But if you want a perfect knockout stage, choose this. Choose this for sure. And honestly, it could, just one thing going back, the one upset, the one major upset I really have is Cloud9 beating WE. Besides that, Samsung could beat Longzhu. They definitely could beat Longzhu. It's not impossible. Misfits, I don't think will beat SKT. Again, I think they might take a game off of them, but I don't think they're going to beat them. RNG and Fnatic. Fnatic has a lot of momentum going into this, actually. Depending on how Fnatic plays, Fnatic actually could come out in this and actually beat RNG. But if that's the case, it's still going to be SKT beating Fnatic, because there's absolutely zero way that Fnatic is beating SKT if they even beat RNG. So, finally, moving on into the final game for the championship. We've got SKT versus Longzhu. Wow, boys. Okay. I don't think there's any way that either Longzhu or Samsung is not making it to the championship. Unless, if Team WE some way finds a way to beat Cloud9, I don't think there's any way that Longzhu is not making it to the championship. So, top lane, we got Huni versus Khan. It's gonna be a Khan. It's gonna be a Khan win right there. I think it's definitely Khan win. Khan is gonna stomp Huni. I think I said earlier that Huni was definitely coming into this doing very well and having a lot of momentum, and that is true. But Khan, oh my gosh, in SKT's playstyle too, I don't think they'd be smart enough to ban Jace, but maybe they would. Maybe. I still think Khan is going to win, even if he's not on the Jace. Mid lane matchup, Faker versus BDD in the mid lane. It's going to be Faker. BDD is doing okay, but Faker is just better. So that's just like if we were going on like each lane, which lane wins, it'll be 1-1. Top lane winning, top lane winning for Longzhu, mid lane winning for SKT. And then we got in the jungle, we got Cuz, and then we also have Blank in the jungle. Cuz and Blank, that is probably the closest matchup besides the bot lane. I think it's going to be Cuz. I think it's going to be Cuz. Cuz has been performing very well, but so has I don't know, man. Oh, this is so hard. I'm saying Cuz. I think it's gonna be Cuz winning that matchup. But then also we got in the bot lane. So we got Bang and Wolf versus Prey and Gorilla. Oh my goodness. It's gonna be towards Longzhu in this matchup. Prey and Gorilla. Oh, they're deadly. They're insane. They're absolutely disgustingly insane. And in that matchup, it's gonna be Longzhu taking the win in the bot lane. Depending on if they have jungle control or not, it's gonna be Longzhu. And overall, it's going to be Longzhu. And I think it's going to go to 5 games. I think it's going to be Longzhu, SKT, Longzhu. That is my prediction for Worlds 2017 knockout stage. So, I thank you guys for watching. I don't think there's anything else I need to cover. If I missed anything, please tell me in the comments down below. If you guys have any suggestions for the next podcast I should do, please tell me in the comments below. Like, subscribe for more videos in general. Okay, so, yes, if I missed anything, or if you have any opinion of yours on your knockout, and be like, hey, I did a knockout draft. You want to come check my channel out? And I'll be happy to. Or if you say, like, hey, I have this conspiracy theory. What if this happens, and this could happen? What are your opinions on this? Because I'm thinking of doing this as a pick. Do you think this would be a good pick? Yes or no? And then I would reply to you guys. And since I don't have that many subscribers, I will get back to every single one of my comments on my channel. So don't feel scared to comment, and I will answer any of your questions And I'll see you guys in the next podcast of the Duff Podcast. So thank you guys for watching. On behalf of me, I thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys in, I don't even know the next time we'll meet. When are we going to meet? I'll probably do a recap of, I will do a recap of the knockout stage, and I'll say why they won, and why who won, and why they moved on, and why they didn't move on, and what they did, and why they choked. But until next time, guys, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time in a new episode of the Duff Podcast. See you guys later. Peace.